everybody, it's me, your buddy Dave, the host here at the Dark Stuff channel on YouTube. That was a little clip of Ty Segall that I saw the other night, and if I'm speaking a little bit louder than normal, it's because I may have lost a little bit of my hearing at that show. That was not the loudest show I've ever been to, but maybe the second loudest show I've ever been to in 40 years of concert going. This video is going to recap a couple of shows that I have seen over the last month or so. We're getting close to summertime, and that's when everything really kicks into high gear, but I wanted to make sure I covered these because I did see some really, really cool shows over the last few weeks. Well, let's start off with the aforementioned Ty Segall. So Ty Segall played The Waiting Room, and I'm a fan of his records. I have probably 10 of his albums or whatever. I play him on my radio show all the time. And so I had planned to go to this show pretty early on. Last time I saw Ty Segall, though, was 2016. And he was out with, I think he was calling his band the Emotional Muggers or something. And he had like King Tuff in the band and some other guys. Anyways, he was wasted, and it was not the greatest show, and it was so packed that it was just unpleasant to even be there, so I ended up being like, nah, and took off. While that show in 2016 was like pretty like ramshackle and wild and kind of like a replacement show from 1984 or something, this time his band was super tight and super focused and super loud. Again, I'm going to keep coming back to that. Before I talk about the Ty show, let me briefly tell you about who opened the show. Is a group called Sharpie Smile. Pretty unique, kind of quirky indie pop band. They had a kind of a Sparks vibe to a certain degree. The singer also played drums, so that always gives me a Karen Carpenter vibe, although their music was nothing like the Carpenters. Staring at the bass player because she looked super familiar, but the band said that they had never been to Omaha before, so I was kind of like, well, why does she look so familiar? And I just could not put my, figure out where I had seen her before. So I thought I had figured it out, and I thought that she played in a band that opened for Liz Phair when I saw her about 6 months ago, and I couldn't remember the name of the artist, but so I found a picture on my phone from that concert, and I was showing people. I was like, do you think that's her? Do you think that's her from that band? And I was going to go and try and find her after the show and ask. And then after the show, I couldn't find her, so it was like, okay, whatever. And then I just happened to bump into the singer, and I said, hey, let me ask you a question. Does your bass player play with anyone else? Like, would I have seen her somewhere else? And I showed the picture, and then she takes the phone and like blows up, pinches up the picture, makes it bigger, and goes, yeah, Kate Bollinger, that's her. And she was the bass player for Kate Bollinger, who did open up for Liz Phair, and I was like, I knew it. I knew she looked familiar. Sharpie Smile, interesting band. They were kind of strange, but I would see them again if they came to town. Just before Ty's set, one of his roadies kind of came up to the front row, where I was standing right in the front, like touching the stage with one of my friends, and this roadie guy comes up and goes, hey, does everybody understand like exactly how loud this is going to be right where you're at? Like, make sure you have earplugs, make sure you have whatever, because it's going to be loud and you're just being warned. Then the band came on, and holy shit, he was not wrong. I mean, right from where I was, like standing just, a few inches from the band, it was deafeningly loud. I mean, it hurt, okay? And I did not wear earplugs, okay? Don't at me, don't whatever, it's a choice. It's maybe not a choice I'm going to be making forever, but the point is, I'm 53 and I still hear perfectly, okay? I hear better than my cats do, in my opinion. I don't know if that's actually accurate. I'd put an asterisk by that. But anyways, after about 4 or 5 songs up there, I mean, I just literally couldn't take it. It was so painful. So my friend who had earplugs stayed up in the front. I went to the back and I watched the rest of the show from back there. And I have to tell you, it sounded great back there. Okay, it was loud but not uncomfortably loud, and the band sounded good. I could hear every instrument separation, and the big negative if you're right up front is that the PA where you hear the voice is above you. So I couldn't really hear the vocals. I couldn't hear the vocals that well when I was up front, but when I moved back, totally fine.
Out there, it's too busy. Well, I'd rather be inside my
I mean, bottom line, it was an excellent show from Ty Segall. I mean, it was fucking smoking. Just, I would say, if you go see him, don't do what I did. Like, wear earplugs and maybe stand about midway. Don't necessarily get right up front. I mean, it's like Dinosaur Jr. level loud, like with Jay Mascis and his massive amps and stuff. Like, the first time I saw Dinosaur Jr. on a reunion show back in like 07 or something, Lou Barlow was passing out earplugs to people as like a warning, it's gonna be loud. This was much louder. Before that, I was able to see Jason Isbell and the 400 unit over at the Astro. Now, I don't know, maybe you caught my video from a few months ago where I was going to all of the various Targets in the Omaha metro area looking for this like special super cheap copy of Weather Vanes by Jason Isbell. Spoiler alert, I didn't find it. None of them had it. But anyways, it had been a few years since I'd seen Jason Isbell. His last time in Omaha, he played the Orpheum, and I didn't go for whatever reason. I don't know. But I did see him the time before that, which was when he played outside of the waiting room, like right behind it. And if you're from Omaha, they basically block off Military Avenue, and they set up a stage at the end of the street, and it's like an outdoor show. And a lot of bands, big bands, play there. The Pixies were supposed to in 2021, but they ended up canceling and still haven't rescheduled, by the way. This was the first night of this leg of Isbell's tour, because one or two of his band members had flown in like that day, and the opener for the show was someone named Jobi Riccio. I don't know, Riccio. She records for the Yep Rock label. I looked it up. Good, country folkish type of artist. Good performer. I really knew nothing about her. So the show was originally scheduled to be outdoors. So this venue, the Astro, is an indoor-outdoor spot. They have an amphitheater and they have an indoor place. Obviously, you can put a lot more people in the amphitheater if it's outside. But if you follow the news, you'll know that eastern Nebraska was recently hit by some seriously devastating tornadoes. I mean, areas I used to work in are just like leveled. It's pretty crazy. So weather has been an issue. So there was a possibility that we were going to have another weather-related issue the night of Isbell. So the day before the show, they just decided to go ahead and preemptively move it indoors. So happy that was the case. So rather than having to deal with the outside and the possibility of getting rained on and it being cold and all of that stuff, put it indoors. I got to sit up in the owner's box, which is, so if the stage is like right here, like the box is up on this side, you know, directly, like kind of looking down over the stage. It's a great spot.
Baby, but I won't leave you alone. When I was young once, we were the wild ones. Before we had to pay attention to the violence. Anything could happen, but nothing ever really did. I wanted action, she wanted answers. Sunrise with the dealers and the dancers. It takes a whole lot of...
You know, Isbell did a great set. Better than what I remember from the last time I saw him, but I have to admit I was paying a hell of a lot more attention this time around. But while, you know, Isbell's records seem more Americana or alt country, as they used to say, live he comes off as much more just rock and roll. I mean, he's got a little bit more of a rock swagger, and he's just, I don't know, he's cool. And I really dug the show. This was the best time that I'd seen him so far, and you know, I would 100% go back.
She's got the eyes of a panther. She said, don't be afraid.
In light of the fact that over the past month or so, I had done a lot of videos on my hair metal past and all of the groups I used to like back in the day, and some of those videos did really, really well, and it kind of got me back in that 80s vibe for a short period of time. So I decided that I wanted to go see Steel Panther when they came to Omaha. And Steel Panther is a Hollywood-based kind of 80s hair metal parody band. Their show is meant to sort of take you back to 1987, big hair, spandex, sexism, all the stuff that you remember from the late 80s, and they put it into a show, and with, you know, generally pretty humorous lyrics, and they don't take themselves too seriously, although they obviously have a certain amount of talent. But, you know, I thought I'd have a more fun time at Steel Panther, and it turns out that I really didn't. The joke was kind of old after about 20 minutes, and my friend and I were like, have you seen enough? And he was like, yeah. So we ended up bailing on that one. Last show I saw was an Austin, Texas band called Sun June. Now, I haven't formally talked about them here on the channel, although their last two albums both made my top 20 of the year in the years that they came out. So obviously I was pretty excited to see them. They're playing at Reverb, which is a really small place, and I got there, I got right up close. You know, Sun June is a very kind of quiet, mellow indie music. You really have to focus on the songs themselves, the singer's great voice, and it was a very quiet, intimate kind of a crowd too.
Dreams to be
The show was a group called Wild Pink, and they're from New York City, and I didn't know them beforehand, but I ended up really liking them while they played. You know, I look at them and they're from New York, but they look like every band I used to like from Minneapolis, you know, so they had a Minneapolis vibe to me, even though they're actually from New York. They were just a great mellowish guitar indie rock band, not quite as mellow as Sun June, but they're, you know, compatible for sure. The singer-songwriter in Sun June is Laura Caldwell, and she plays guitar. She's the singer. She plays keyboards sometimes, and is the main focal point of the band. And she was really on point on this show. And some of my favorite songs they did play Mixed Bag and Everything I Had. Those are the two that I knew the names of, and they played both of them, so I was pretty excited. Had all of the Sun June records digitally, but I thought I'm going to buy them all on CD and actually have, you know, like hard copies of them. They had everyone on vinyl and they were $30 a piece, or the CDs were $10 a piece. It's hard to resist, you know, $30 for 3 versus $30 for 1. So I ended up getting the CDs, and that left me with enough money to get a Wild Pink shirt. So there you go. That explains the economics of the situation. All right, well, I'm going to close out this video with another clip from Sun June. They were great. Basically, Sun June, Jason Isbell, Ty Segall, all three would recommend. Steel Panther, I got a kind of a warning on that one. Maybe. I'm not 100% saying yes. I do have a couple of other cool shows coming up. I got Cloud Nothings coming back. Zepparella, Lucinda Williams, legendary punk band Sham 69, The Baseball Project with 2 members of REM. So, I don't know, I got a busy calendar coming up. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
So, you have a MySpace page or something?